Hello everyone and welcome to this week's knowledge sharing session. This week is on site management and it will be delivered by our former colleague Pete Johnson. So first and foremost, as always, can we get a bit of etiquette out of the way to start with? Can we have all mics on mute? And for the interactive parts, I can see some people are getting involved already. Can we have the questions submitted by the text in the narrative? And if you'd like to speak to Peter personally, if you use the hand up function within the Zoom app, and Vid will invite you to speak when it's right to do so. As usual, the questions will be filtered by Vid and introduced at the end of the appropriate slide. So if you ask a question, don't get frustrated if it's not answered immediately. Keep them coming in. So it's a recorded log, and any questions that do get missed or will get missed, we will address those in due course. Again, if we try and talk over each other, it'll be carnage, so use the hand up function. So last week, we learned how a project can run smoothly from inception to completion, or cradle to grave, if you like, if the correct collaborative approach is laid out at the beginning of the project. So we work with some very knowledgeable people across the business, and Dave rightly so called quite a few of them out last week, which was good in the presentation to hear some names. And by sharing this knowledge and building on the wealth of specialist expertise inside ITT and TDU, it's helping us to advertise how good we are at what we do to the wider business. So just a reminder, the purpose, the ITT Engineers YouTube channels there, all previous sessions are on that. This one will be up by close of business today. We're getting some good feedback for the session, so please keep that feedback coming in. We have a program to cover the next 6 weeks or so, so please, any volunteers that fancy having a go at this, it's a bit of crack as well, so please email me in the first instance. And I know I've dropped a few of his emails, so if you just let me know if you're up for it or not. Obviously with furlough, it's a little bit difficult at the moment. So after the last presentation on collaboration, so thanks to Dave Mott for doing that, very detailed, and he detailed how close we work with all other disciplines across Balfour, Beatty and LU to maximise the efficiency in what we do, which makes us lean. As we go through these projects, we build solid professional relationships within our client base, and a lot of the times those last well beyond any project. So knowledge sharing, we're hoping to capture lessons learned from our old Track Alliance and Track Partnership days, so some of them will be quite historic presentations. And as we're approach our new defect-free delivery, we should find collaborating across the business a smoother process, making ITT world-class. So Peter's presentation, as we said, site management, focuses on the success story around the command and control centre and managing the works over a possession weekend. We will learn how managing that message out to the wider world over a weekend is core to the success and everything we do at ITT. As usual, there will be a Kahoot quiz. This week is on sustainability, so it should be quite good. We've had some good crack on these before, and everyone wants to get involved, and everyone seems quite competitive, which is good. So suggested content, I've had a few people suggest stuff to me, so please keep that coming in. If we can figure out how we can use this for better to increase the collaboration across the wider business. So as always, email me in the first instance. We've got the live link and YouTube link are on the invite, so you have access to that within live link or on the Tinterweb. So now for the main event. Peter's presentation on site management includes a couple of examples of various site management issues that he's encountered personally over the years. One, obviously, that we had to manage a very serious accident on site. So thankfully, of which there are very few, and a few examples of where we celebrate some of the tremendous success stories, of which there have been very, very many over the years. So good management is at the heart of everything we do at ITT, and we've got some really good site managers, and I've worked for a few of them over the years. varying styles. So Andy did it in Fox and Rambo recently. So Andy, he's not the type of guy that's micromanage, so he lets you get on with the task, and as long as you're delivering, he'll leave you to do the job. Ram tends to get involved in personal development, and he's helped various people complete the APMP courses, which is above and beyond his role as a PM. But you know, it's no accident that almost all of the engineers that work for Ram went on to pick up project management roles elsewhere within LU and further afield. So getting to Pete Johnson again is another success story for the Balfour Beatty apprenticeship scheme. He joined Balfour Beatty straight from school in 2008. He achieved his professional qualification HND level over a 4-year college release whilst working at Track Alliance. So he's been with us quite a while, and over Track Partnership as well. He's been a key member of the delivery team and was heavily involved in some of the higher profile projects that we delivered. So we all know what a sound guy Pete is, and his charm and indeed his lack of shirt buttons are legendary. Pete Brown has quite a bit to say about all of that. A fun fact about Pete is he plays the piano. He also collects classic cars. He does a lot of mountain biking. He does kayaking. So he's a huge, as you can guess from the intro music, he's also a huge James Bond fan. He's a bit of a reputation as a social animal, and a bit like the milk tray man, he doesn't disappoint us with his wide range of black turtlenecks. So on that note, I'll hand the microphone over to you, Pete, and you can take it away.
Thanks, Damien. Thanks. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about site management, a role that I sort of performed in Track Partnership since I was sort of about 21, 22, when I first got my first site management role on site, and it was all a steep learning curve from there. It was something bit of the unknown when I first went into it, but then yeah, over the course of doing sort of drainage, P&C and plain line renewals, site management techniques you use, you adapt everywhere and adopt everywhere and use the same techniques. So hopefully we've got a bit of what you might already know, but a bit of learning as well. So basically, site management, what does it mean and what does it entail? The picture you can see behind you is of Earl's Court in 2017, Christmas. It was a great job. Over 7 days. It was probably one of the biggest jobs I had the pleasure of sort of site managing on in the Track Partnership history. Okay, next slide, please. So our agenda today, we're going to go through the sort of basics of site management and the sort of key areas around site management that we sort of like to sort of see in TP and ITT. So command and control room, this is one thing that's, you know, set up really, really well, and it's probably world class in the way that our command and control is set up, how we manage it, how we interface with our colleagues in the stations, and set up very good and suitable command and control rooms. Delivery certainty, it's what we do, it's our bread and butter. It is everything. It's our reputation to make sure that we as Balfour Beatty and London Underground are delivering with certainty, getting those right time handbacks and delivering safely. Managing the message, so we do not want mixed messages leaving our site. We need to make sure our messages are clear and concise, our sites are under control, and making sure that we are effectively managing our sites. Ensuring success at ITT, it's all about, it's what we are there to do: deliver safely, hand back on time, and get the job done. Also about trying to get it defect free before we hand it back, so we don't have to go back to these sites. We want to be walking away from them. So personal experiences, we're going to talk about the serious incident that you all will have heard and known about at the time, but Whitechapel is sort of heavily ingrained in me and how I think of Whitechapel as a name. And celebrating success, so Walthamstow was a success story, and we've got loads of them. There's loads that we can reel off, and I'm sure you can probably all sort of say which ones are your sort of big success stories, either working on them or just being a part of them. Okay, next slide, please. So here's just a sort of opening cover, but one of my good mentors, Vic Thorpe here, This was a drainage site at Lord's disused, but you know, learn off the best, if you like. And he was one that was always key in sort of mentorship and striving to do the right thing and learning of how to keep level-headed and calm and make sure your site is under control. So what makes a good site manager? Experience and the correct planning, I think, are all part of it, and support and having that training provided. You know, as a site manager, we don't. You've got a great regime at ITT and Track Partnership for mentoring young people or less experienced people into a rank where they can successfully site manage. At the height of TP, we had about 100 engineers and 400 staff across BB and LU, and so it's a huge scale operation, delivering sort of 4 possessions a weekend, or up to 4 possessions a weekend. It's just great to be part of it, even though I'm working elsewhere now. It's still, you know, a big part of my history and career. So we'll go on to the qualities of site manager. So communication, interpersonal skills. I really think these are really top hitters in my experience. Being able to effectively communicate with everybody, from level 2 to trackman. You've got a big array of people there. So I find the best way to get things done and get the best outputs out of people is adapting how you talk to them. So that might be more down to earth with trackman, or be more political and, you know, maybe use the bigger words, if you like, with the level 2s and the other stakeholders that you're going to be dealing with on conference calls and the likes. Clear and concise communication is key. And another point is listen to your team, listen to the people who are on the ground, and use their advice, but also, you know, disseminate it and then give an accurate and concise message when you relay it back out to the wider audience. I also think that if you find common ground with people, it helps you communicate and build those relationships with people. So whether it be you talk about football or a holiday you've been on, or, you know, treat your team how you wish to be treated. You don't necessarily have to be hard or screaming and shouting at people to get a job done. If you manage it effectively, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to be, you know, give direct, clear, concise sort of direction, but, you know, keep that calm, level head on you. Confidence, promoting confidence on and off site by accurate reporting. I mean, calm decision making and that level head when given instruction promotes confidence with the team. And you know what, when those guys on the ground are receiving that message, if it's calm and collected, then they don't feel panicked, and they'll deliver effectively. And more, you know, safety always comes into it. But if you're thinking about what you're doing, you're not making rash decisions, you're not rushing around, you will 9 times out of 10 deliver it safely, and you'll have more of an eye out for it. Authority to command on site and giving support to make operational decisions. So, you know, you are the key person who's dealing with everybody, all the different working wheels of site. You're going to be dealing with that as a site manager. So yes, you are the main person, and you've got to have that authority to make decisions, but you're not alone when you're doing this. So you've got your support of your level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is your first port of call, you know, and then it goes up to level 2 who hosts the conference calls. But effectively, if you're struggling on site, you've got them to assist you and advise. You know, you can just give them a call and they will help out. Management, managing third parties and external influences, both good and bad. Manage the site and forward plan your next activities. You know, anticipate where you think you've got occurring problems. If you know about your problems quicker, you've got more time to resolve them as you go. Handing back on time, program awareness. You know, it's very important that we hand back on time, defect free and safely. You know, if we're not walking away without a safe site, you know, we don't want to be hurting people when we go through this. But you know, not only that, but going back with defects, it's a similar sort of thing. If you've got more, if you're walking away having to go back to site, that's more exposure for men on the ground, boots on the ground, going back, and you obviously increase the risk of injuring anybody, if you like. But effectively, you know, we've got the Balfour Beatty, you've got the zero harm. We want to enforce it, look at fatigue, look at your door-to-door times, and make sure that your operation on site, as a site manager, you're sort of responsible, and make sure it's done safely. And family, this is one thing I just thought was quite nice, on and off track. But the picture on the right hand side was when we, as a collection of sort of engineers and supervisors, went up to Snowdon and climbed Snowdon together. But these guys on track that you're dealing with every day and you're working with every day, they're a big part of your life, and they're a big part of your social life as well. And you know what? Use it to your advantage. If you can make friends with people, and if you can build those relationships with them, it becomes easier when you're trying to delegate tasks out and get the job done. Okay, next slide, please. Right, delivery certainty. This is, yeah, exactly what we do. So start on time, stay on time, hand back on time, safely. One thing that I always like to do, and it's one part of the planning process, is mitigations and contingencies. You produce them in your plan, but when you go out on site to manage your site, know the plan and how to implement them. Use them to your advantage to keep the works under control. If you know your flow, if you know what activities you can reduce back or scale up, then you can do that. But just make sure you know. Have meetings with your third parties. A good way of doing this is to have key risk boards. So it's something that in that first picture in Earls Court and on all our B&C sites when I was managing them, we used to set up in the command and control, and we used to have like a key risk board, what our next activities board was, and it gives people, you can action people off with stuff. You know, have your supervisors briefed, have your stakeholders. I mean, one way it really worked well, having those boards and who was doing what and what timings was with say transplant Mick. We used to have some good meetings, didn't we? And the other one was signals and power. You know, if they know their time slots and they know when things are happening, you can scale it around and make sure that everybody is working to the same goal. Delegating tasks. So these are sort of your tools to assist, if you like. Delegating tasks it's not the site manager's role to do everything on site. He's not there to do that. He's there to make sure that the plan is implemented. Delegate your duties to your people who you know how to do it. Choose the right person for the job. Different people have different skill sets. If you've got say a tamp going on, you know, you've got a supervisor who needs to drop the ballast and then clear the clip for the tamping activity. However, he doesn't know how much ballast to drop. So therefore, get the engineer to look at the levels, check the levels, and make sure the right amount is being dropped. That way, you save time, you save reworks, and you know it saves you time in the long run. It speeds everything up and just makes everything flow a lot more better. As I say, your biggest assets are your people. You know, they're your weapons of choice. Choose the right people, and the ability to escalate. You know, to talk about your problems and know how to ask for help. That might be that you ask a different skill set. You're not going to know everything as a site manager. As I said, I was very junior when I first started, and ITT have got a great sort of training regime where you go out and you get mentored by a seasoned site manager, and then you're released into the world on your own. But it's, you know, use your support functions around you, use your level ones, use your level twos. But if you find that something escalates on site and you've got too much to deal with, it's your gift to be able to sort of nominate somebody as a deputy to sort of do some of the running around and everything else. Okay. Right. So managing the message. So, you know, the first two are obvious, you know, clear, concise messages. But one thing, when you're trying to deliver that clear and concise message, you've often got a lot of things going on. So one of them would be, you know, stress. It's a very stressful situation. You know, you've got a million different things coming at you. Got three phones in your pocket going off. You've got radio going off. You know, it all gets a bit manic. But when somebody's chomping at the bit to try and get a job done, sometimes the best thing the most logical thing and the safest thing is to do that take 5. Although take 5 is around safety, you know, use it yourself as well. Sit down with a coffee. If you've got too much going on, sit down with a coffee, write your key things down, and you know, work it out and plan accordingly what you're going to do in your shift. And you know, you're better off making a thorough and thought out decision rather than a on the spot rash decision. And use the advice of other people around you. Remain professional. I think this is one. You can get people lose their heads if you like, but if you can remain professional, you know, sometimes people ask testing questions on conference calls, and rather than give a mixed message, which shows sort of lack of control, stick to your plan. Stick to saying what you're going to say. You know, scribe out what you're going to say on these conference calls. Have your 5-minute meeting, 10-minute meeting, 15 minutes before your conference calls. So everybody's on board, everybody's briefed, everybody knows what they're going to say, and that message out from site will be much more clear and effective and effective to the audience that is listening in. One of the things here is don't celebrate your success too early. This was down at East Putney several years ago. I think it was Christmas 2016, and we had 3 jobs on over the Christmas. We had a P&C job at Earls Court, we had a plane line job at West Brompton, and then we had a plane line job at East Putney, replacing both tracks. And the job was lagging behind. We put enormous amount of effort getting it back onto track, and we were looking for on-time handback. And this picture on the right, this is the first time it's ever been shown, but we took the picture because we thought, yeah, what a brilliant job. We've got it back. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. We've got it back. You know, it's great. Success story. We get this picture. We were about to put it on Yammer. We thought, hang about. No, we can't put it on Yammer yet. We hadn't handed back the track. Only to find out there's a problem with the electrification of Form D going back in the PICOP. And it was just a lack of communication, really. But the PICOP wasn't talking to the electrical tester who was on site, and started pulling switches and all sorts of stuff. But it was a lack of communication between the two of them. The tester was actually doing his job correctly. PICOP was doing his job correctly. But that meant that he wanted him off site. He didn't want him on his site, and he wanted an independent, another replacement tester to come onto site. That, in return, caused the job to run over. And thank God we did not post this picture too soon. But it just gives you, you know, your message from site. It can be one thing, but anything could happen. You know, I always advocate that you don't celebrate too early. You know, it's not handed back until it's handed back. Next slide. So ensuring success on ITT. So it has been refined. We've been working with London Underground, Balfour, Beatty and London Underground. We've been working together since, well, I ever started, but I think about 2005, and mentioned that before that, really, there's bits about Beatty and all sorts of stuff. You know, it's seasoned. We know what we do. We know how to do it. Learn from the best, if you like. We've got the site manager's handbook, which is very good to sort of relate to. And if you're just sort of junior, if you're just starting as a apprentice engineer or a graduate engineer, it's good to just read through that, just to know what your duties are on site. And you know, you do fall into that org chart of people, but as a site manager, it's making sure that you're enforcing that handbook. But it's good that we've got process, procedure, and we know how to follow it. Lessons learned. So this is, some people might call it the Beatty meeting, but the post-readiness review, it's, you know, use it to your advantage. It's about learning. Experience on site will lead you to become a better and better site manager. There's stuff that you'll encounter that you won't have come across before, but as you go through it, you know, use what you've learned to enforce on site. And when you do come across those issues again, you know how to deal with them effectively and quickly. You know, you'll be able to have a clear line of thought of, yeah, I'm going to get that sorted. I know how I'm going to do it. Brief your men up, brief your guys up, girls and guys, and get it done properly. Similar occasion to one of the sort of experiences I've got of this. This was recent. This was in February this year at a King's Cross site, and it's just an example of when things go wrong. We were tracking all the machines down. We had finished excavation. We were tracking all the machines down to the start of job, and then we heard this big clunk, and then we looked behind us, and the track had fallen off this 360 excavator halfway through site. It was about 30% on the south side, 70% on the north side, and it was stuck. We were like, oh God, what are we going to do here? And we looked at it. The pins were broken. There was no way we could get it out. You're in a tunnel, very similar to London Underground environment. We had a train parked alongside us. It was stuck in the middle of site. What do you do? What do you do? So I took control of this. You know, we said, right, how are we going to do this? So we got the fitter straight down. We listened to him. We worked out what we could do. And the fitter said, no, we want to take it out north so we can get it out of the possession. That would have meant standing all the machines out, getting all the machines off track. So you stand down all activity all together. Like, no, we can't live with that. That was going to be about 3 to 4 unknown, really, 3 to 4 hours delay. Instead, we said, no, let's try and do something with it. And as you can see there on the left-hand picture, it was a bit of a bodge to get it running, but we did something, and doing something is better than doing nothing. So we ratchet strapped the tracks back on, and we with a bit of perseverance, we managed to sort of get it off. We managed to get that machine off, but we made the decision to move it south. And the reason why we did that was because it was nearest to it was closest to that track, but also you could keep site operations running at the north end of you, so you're not stood down site. You could keep ballast going. You could keep things going, and that only actually delayed the project by about an hour and a half, which was well within our float and DWWP, and could keep the project on track. Just quickly on that, but another similar story to that, which is quite a good one, was the time at Stepney Green to Mile End, and we actually it was a similar machine, terminal failure, and what do you do? What do you do with these machines that are stuck in the hole in a tube environment? And very agile and good site management. One of the site managers said, okay, there's Crossrail there. They've got a very, very big crane out there. Can we get this machine out? If we drag it out, can we get that out of the hole? And it was done. So they built a relationship with the Crossrail site, and within 24 hours that machine had been lifted out. Okay, the scope was not fully achieved. However, people and public were travelling on that train system come Monday morning, and that is a success story. You know, that is the important thing, is reliability, and you know, nobody was hurt in the process of this. You know, if you're going to be dragging it out, it could cause issues, but it was done well. Next slide. World-class delivery team. We move on. Next slide. Right. So, professional leadership and support from above. As I say, you've got your level 2 and level 1. It's what it is on the tin, really. It's what it says on the tin. The level 2 is your lead stakeholder management. They are the person who are dealing with the stakeholder, managing the higher level message that is coming from site. Big issue resolution. They come down and they will assist the site manager and the level 1 with the overall decision, and their key role is to prevent overrun and make sure that it does not overrun unsafely as well. Level 1, medium issue resolution, agrees to major changes to the plan. So if you're a site manager, if you've got a change you want to make to the program, your key role is to stick to the program and run with it. But if there's any changes to that, consult your level 1, get his ideas. You're best placed as a site manager on site to make those decisions because you can see it. But speak to your level 1. And they prevent overruns, but commercial decisions as well. As you can see on the right there's young Phil Atwell. I think he joined when he was in 2014. I remember him coming down as a Donny lad with his thick northern accent. But he, you know, he's a success story, and I can remember being under him as a site manager when I was level 2, and it, you know, it was a real good support network, just running through what was wrong and bouncing off each other of how to resolve issues, and really liked working with him. But you know, he was one of the ones that sort of educated me in some of the site management, and you know, building some of these relationships and making sure you've got your off-site support, including your sort of P6 resource, transport managers, engineering charges, and LU managers. And you know, everybody's there to get a job done. Everybody's in the same boat, and use those resources. Doesn't matter if they're external, use them. People have got different experiences. Okay. So professional leadership on site. So the site manager ensures the program is maintained. I've gone over it, but some of those key things that you've got, and I've spoken about it a little bit before, but your senior supervisor, one, delegate to them. You know, they can run with the tasks. Don't try and run the site over them. They are there to do it. You're making sure the work is carried out safely, making sure that it's done properly to quality and time, but you know, directed by the site manager. But one of the big sort of things that is a good aid is your control room manager. Actually, they can sort out a lot of the sort of admin issues, and they can prepare the reports for you, and manage and massage the message that's coming out. Remind you of critical milestones. Sometimes you're so involved with issue resolution and the basic duties of reporting can be low down your priority list, and you're trying to sort something out. You're trying to deal with a million different people, and then you've got a milestone to go out. It's very good that you've got some kind of assistance, that sort of just to help with the smaller issues. You know, it's about getting the nuisance jobs out of the way so you can clearly focus on what you need to be doing. Okay, next slide. So this is just taken straight from the site manager's handbook, and I wanted to do it so it all sort of makes sense to you in the end. So it's just a normal org chart of how the level of reporting and authority through to the guys on the ground goes, and how that message is managed upwards and downwards. This will be shared anyway. Okay, we'll move on. Over to you, then.
Cheers, Pete. Following the success of many Kahoots, we're doing another one. No surprise there. If everyone can go log into kahoot.it, I'll just give you the pin. The pin is, can you see my screen all right as well?
Yep.
Pete, can you see that? The pin is 899460. So if everyone logs onto kahoot.it and then 899460. Give it a couple of minutes so everyone can join. James Bond, wonder who that is. Bojo's here as well, very nice. Couple more and I'll start. Give it 10 seconds. Winner, very confident. Okay, 15 players will start. You can join in whilst it's going anyway. So this is the knowledge sharing site management quiz on sustainability. Question 1, which uses less water? Washing a full load by hand or using the dishwasher? (13 in, 14). The answer is dishwasher. 11 of you got it right. Well done. James Bond in the lead. Question 2. What type of supermarket bag is more eco-friendly? Paper or plastic? Either is fine or none of the above. (12 answers in, 13. The quicker you do it, the more points you get. None of the above. Very good. 5 people got that one right. MB and our Prime Minister have made a bit of a comeback. Question 3, appliances that are turned off don't use any electricity. This is standby, by the way, just to clarify. True or false? Fifteen answers in. Correct answer is false. 14 of you got that right. MB, Boris Johnson, and JW are the top 3 so far. Question 4. Hybrid cars are slower and less safe than conventional cars. Blue for true, red for false. Everyone was very quick on that. 14 right. Well done. It is false. Question 5. Approximately how much global electricity output is produced from renewable resources? 1%, 5%, 20%, or 10%? The correct answer is 20%. Well done. 10 of you got that one right. MB is in the lead. Question 6. How much money do you save by replacing a single normal light bulb with a CFL light bulb over the lifetime of the bulb? The things are in dollars. $1, $30, $10, or $5? So over the span of the light bulb's lifetime. $30 is the correct answer, and 8 of you got that right. Very impressive. Question 7, true or false? It is better to leave a lamp with a CFL light on than to turn it on and off several times a day. Blue for true, red for false. A switch signifying switching on and off. 15 answers in. Oh, 1 second. It is false, and 5 of you got that right. Well played. MB, odd job, and winner in the lead. During a long trip, you conserve more fuel by driving fast and getting to your destination sooner. Is that true or is that false? Ten seconds left to answer. 5, 4, I think we've lost somebody. 14 of you got that right, and 1 person is a bit of a speed demon. Odd job is in the lead. Question 9, dropping the thermostat from 21.1 to 20 degrees Celsius saves you about how much on your heating cost? 1%, 10%, 20%, or 5%? Very specific, 1.1 degree less. 7 seconds to answer. Correct answer is 5%. 2 of you got it right. See who that was? MB has taken the lead. Last question. Which of the following is an alternative material for making paper? Panda excrement, hemp, sheepskin, or all of the above? Eight seconds left. The correct answer is all of the above. 10 of you got that right. Let's see who made the podium. In 3rd place, we got Boris Johnson. Well played. In 2nd place, Odd Job. Very creative nickname. And in 1st place, we have MB. Well played, MB. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, hope you learned something about sustainability. I'll hand it back to Pete now.
Yep. Oh, there we got to. So now, anyway, we're going to speak about the Whitechapel incident. I think we've got a video here for you to run, Vid. If you can run it, please.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, mate.
let me know if you guys can hear it okay when I do play it. Just optimizing it. Okay. Please let me know if you can hear.
Morning of the 4th of June, I just received a radio call from Whitechapel to say that crane controller had been injured by a machine. So our first thought was, oh my God.
So receiving that phone call from Ken, going down to site, seeing the crane controller, not knowing whether he was alive or what, there's been a big impact.
I got a call from Ken Mashonga saying to me, the words that came from his mouth was, we've crushed an employee between the platform and the RRV.
My phone went at just after 4 o'clock in the morning. I was lying in bed with my wife next to me, and I had my daughter, who was about 7 months old at the time, in a cot at the end of the bed. I just remember my wife said to me, look, if you're going to take a work call, can you do it in the other room, because you'll wake the baby up. And I just turned to her and said, I think we've just killed someone. So we'd had some accidents in the year running up to Whitechapel. Whitechapel was the significant event. It is the significant event for Track Partnership. It then served as a catalyst for the change programme that we'd already started on. And what it did is it focused people's minds. It made it really important why we were doing this. It made people realise it could be them that was affected by an incident of that type.
That was the day I officially got the letter offering me the job of Head of Health and Safety for Track Partnership. And I can remember speaking to Alistair at 7:30 that evening when I returned from looking at houses and saying, look, I've just received the offer letter. And he said, well, are you going to take the job or not? And I said, after a day like we've had today, yeah, I am, because I feel I can make a difference.
I think people inherently understood that safety was important to us, but I think they were more giving it lip service than truly ingraining it in their culture. So you'd end up with sort of situations where people would do the right thing because they've been told to do the right thing, rather than because it came from within.
Before, I think we used to have this kind of impression that if we had the safety team, it was their job, and it was somebody else's job. And yeah, we were going to be safe on site, but we had to deliver the works first. And so the priority was more kind of delivery, but yeah, we'll be safe, you know, where we can.
I think the safety performance of Track Partnership is one of the big successes of the last 15 months. The transformation within the team has been remarkable. It obviously came out some very difficult beginning with the Whitechapel incident, but the team have really gone back to first principles and changed the way they manage safety within the organisation and changed it fundamentally.
So for me, it's about leadership. It's about my leadership. It's about the way that I carry myself. It's about the way that I take this message on. It's the way that I continue to push this message through the organisation.
Everybody, we've made sure that as senior managers, we've made sure the teams are aware of our agenda, of our mission, that safety is mission critical, that we got to make sure that everybody goes home safe.
I think the senior team within the Track Partnership have really stood up and taken a grip of driving a new safety message into the organisation. It's been really great to see. A wonderful example of that is how Alistair and Neville have actually started personally responding to the near hits. That's a wonderful initiative, and to be honest, it's an initiative we're starting to roll out broader within London Underground.
So we've certainly got the leadership from the top, from our client and from our head of delivery. And that communication that the people have seen, that these senior people are out on site and that we do care about safety. We've done a lot of promotions, we've had a lot of speakers in, do an awful lot of talks now, better engagement than we've ever done, and now we are seeing that culture change.
we've now got a roster to go to site to make sure that we go and do safety tours and PGIs to make sure that we are visible to the people. And we have fruitful and meaningful conversations with the employees to talk to them about safety and also react to what they tell us.
I think when we introduced the safety observer, that was quite a big move. At the start, I think nobody knew what was going to happen, and when they came on board, I think what people on site saw was there is a swift action being taken whenever there is something, something minor like a slip or trip hazard, and I think that shows that we actually care about what's going on site.
Well, as a safety observer on a possession weekend, it's an extra set of eyes for a supervisor on site, overseeing things what could be potential danger out there, and obviously organising to get things, if things are out of place, done as the supervisors can run the site.
I'm not a big fan of enforcement and the idea of people standing around with in white coats stopping people doing things, but the way we've done it within Track Partnership and the safety observers on site during BTR weekends or possession weekends has been fantastic. So it's not been a case of telling people off, it's been a case of working with them to explain what the issues are and why that's the wrong way to do things and how they should be doing it better to be safer for themselves and for their colleagues.
In the briefings, they have said that what we do in the office is important. It filters through to site. So if we've got the plan right, then things will hopefully go right on site and there won't be any accidents.
There is no silver bullet for this. We have to keep people engaged. We have to show people that we care. We have to listen to them. And we have to make sure that the message of safety is at the forefront of their mind in everything that they do.
It's kind of just like a buzz that's in the air. Everyone's kind of got this bug and it's addictive, and I feel like it's a good addiction to have because I've got it and that I'm always safety, safety, safety. I always say one of my favourite meetings to sit in and take notes in is a safety leadership meeting because it's kind of just it's a different kind of conversation.
So one of the successes that we've had is that we have made safety personal to people. We've done that largely through the help of the Balfour Beatty wide Making Safety Personal campaign and the courses and the education that goes along with that. But actually being able to relate some of the experiences back to people has a really powerful effect on behaviours.
Partnership have put an awful lot of effort into training the staff. I think the Making Safety Personal scheme is fantastic. The information that is cascaded throughout the organisation is wonderful and it really hits the key points. And the idea of actually tailoring it to different audiences is a really great example of understanding the message that you want to give.
It's worked its way through. It's still got a bit to go. But this is a journey. We're never going to fix safety overnight.
It's gone from a place where it was good and we were doing it, but now we're so much better. But we can still we can still improve. And I'm just so committed to being a part of that and to be in my position and to be saying that I think that we must have done something right.
Back over to you, Pete.
Thanks, Vid. I think that's the message comes out there is quite it's very very clear, but it's poignant as well. And I was party to Track Partnership while all this was going on, and I saw the improvements that it made and that sort of continued improvement. We talk about continued improvement in project management and quality and all the rest of it, but we don't really talk about it in safety too much. And I think it was fantastic to watch, and it was definitely a culture change that happened over that sort of year and a half, 2 years since I sort of finished at my time at TP. And I've used some of those techniques that we've learned and improved in other projects. As I say, it's experience, but you know, I think there's a lot that other areas of the industry can learn from, out of what transformation we took from Whitechapel. I think it was a very important message. But having a look at sort of Whitechapel, I'll just go through the slide that's on show now. What are the contributing factors, and you know, could we remove the likelihood of that accident to the point where it could not have occurred? Every time I put that picture up of Whitechapel, because it sort of haunts me, every time I think of Whitechapel, if somebody says Whitechapel, oh, let's go for a drink in Whitechapel, or I see the picture of Whitechapel, walk past the station, the first thing that comes to my mind is Adrian, the crane controller, who was injured in this incident, and I can't get it out of my memory, but it just brings it back. And I think my point is, if everybody can have that sort of idea, I think it just, you know, if you've got those little triggers, if you see an underground sign, if that triggers off Whitechapel, you're thinking about safety, you're consciously thinking about it and what you can do. So process not follow, breaches to the WPP and TBS. When we're writing these things, we spend a lot of time writing them. You know, you don't write them to get easily signed off by the health and safety team or your manager. You write them, you need to be saying what you are going to do on site. You know, this is your plan of action, your plan of attack on site. Say what you're going to do and say how you're going to do it, and stick with it. Task briefs not given on or signed. So one of the things was about task briefing sheets not signed when the RRVs were accessed, and that was because of us, you know, people were maybe turning up to site. It was an overnight shift. People coming directly to site rather than into the office to get their paperwork first. You know, there's a number of sort of potential failings that could have happened. The place where we were on tracking those vehicles at the time, the RRVs, it was a long way away. So as a result, the machine controller had to travel and walk, because the process was to walk in front of the machine, up to 6 kilometres. A failing there was the Dectagon was not in use, but another sort of contributing factor was that the program to install more access points had been reduced back. So therefore, your access is limited for anywhere in the tube. So what was done, there was lots of line of sight between the RRV and machine controller. At that point, the machine driver should have stopped, so he got a clear line of sight of him. Adrian, when he did that, he climbed up onto the platform, didn't use the ramp. You know, there's a multitude of things here, and the driver moved without him being in line of sight. And that was, you know, it impacted in the fact that poor Adrian, didn't leave Whitechapel because he went into the hospital upstairs and didn't leave there for a number of months. And, you know, it's horrendous. We shouldn't be going to work to ever be put at risk of being injured. And that's the key message out of this. Not only was he injured though, but it does have a financial and reputational impact of Balfour, Beatty and London Underground. So what do we actually do? You know, it's something that we used before anyway. You know, it could have been almost totally avoidable if we adopted the process now, and we do it every weekend, which is implement the send and receive process. Long distances, you've got these drivers. You set your machine controller up at set destinations. And that means you eradicate any personnel being between those 2 points where a machine has to drive long distances. You know, if you don't need people in the area of a machine, then don't do it. There's only one thing that's going to win out of a big yellow machine and you in your orange hi-fi, and that's going to be the big yellow machine. Okay, next slide. 21-day blockade, yep. So this was a good one. Not necessarily Walthamstow I want to talk about, but it's around the contributing factors of success of what we do on TP and ITT, or what we have done. So one of the things is, you know, project launches and set out your plan. have those meetings at 72 weeks out and 36 weeks out for plain line jobs. You know, get what you need to get done. Define your scope and plan. So in your project launches, adapt the stage gate management process. It's very similar to a project management plan if you're not savvy to the LU way of thinking, but use those stage gates and project life cycles to set out and plan accordingly. Ensure sort of, you know, there's lots of aspects to this. So if you've got specialist plant, you want to be engaging with specialist plant, sort of like Kirovs, Pems and Lems. But one of the good things we did at Walthamstow, we've adopted on several other deep tube jobs, was the use of a gantry train, a fixed gantry crane above. I mean, that helped with safety, lifting on and off trains, and it gave you more scope to move things around safely on site rather than, you know, the manual nature of deep tube renewals. Train fleets, you know, have meetings with your train, with transplant, and make sure that you've got your recycle times good. You can get your materials to site. You're not going to be delaying the project, and you know, these are flexible things on site that you can do as well. You know, have those meetings with your transplant manager and make sure that you've got your trains in the right way. You know, these are all things that can impact to a successful delivery, having the right people, train drivers in the right place at the right time to make sure you've got everything going accordingly. T-12 reviews and scrutinise the plan before your job. I think it's probably the best in the industry. Joe Keegan does a fantastic job of critiquing your work. Got a very good way of visualising a site, and you know, very good at questioning things. And you know what? I've gone in front of him with plans, and he's either chucked me out of the meeting, or I've come away with a list as long as my arm. But actually, if you take those into account and you apply them and you apply them to your plan, this is how we've got so good at relentlessly delivering with London Underground and Balfour Beatty. Stakeholder approvals and closeout of jobs. You know, you're only as good as your job, which is actually closed out. We have struggled as I remember, as Track Alliance we struggled, as Track Partnership we struggled, but closing jobs out, one to name is Loughton, and handing that back. One of the contributing sort of factors of not being able to hand that back is your access. So it's proper planning of your access. So that's something that can be brought up in your sort of launch plan. How you want to be walking away from that. If you know you've got access issues, plan to walk away defect free. Then you don't have to go back and rectify problems. But also, it's you know, your stage gate 5s and 6s. It's your retention you're getting back, and your retention sum, and you don't want a backlog of historical jobs that have still got problems riding on them. Okay, moving on. That's it. I will welcome any questions or any hellos so far away. Thanks for listening, by the way.
There's no questions coming in on the chat. Damo, do you want to finish up?
Yeah. So thank you, Pete. I know it's good that we're still talking about Whitechapel, reminding everyone of the seriousness of what can happen over a weekend. As we can see from that presentation, lives are impacted forever, not just Adrian's, but all involved. It's a very powerful video and a very powerful narrative as well for all on the ground. And we still have most of those guys involved in the senior team, so that's good. So very informative, Pete. Didn't expect anything less. Good demonstration of your interpersonal skills, and we know you use those in all sorts of places. So I know you're a key member of Balfour Beatty, and you're always willing to help, and you still come back and help us here where you can. So the knowledge sharing, just to recap, continuous improvements through feedback, so promoting best practice and promoting success at ITT, hopefully capturing the absolute unique expertise that we have. So thanks to anyone who's filled out the questionnaire. Keep those coming in. And next week, we've got a presentation on common engineering problems. So just thank you all for your continued support. Help spread the word. It's good to see Mick Mack and a couple of guys on there now that are out of furlough, maybe. We don't know, but it's good to see us on. I think it's a good social occasion at the end of the week. You know, it's a good interactive session. So it does get input from delivery managers and supervisors, which is good. And it's good to touch base with everybody on a weekly basis. So have a think, keep any suggestions coming in. I'm still looking for volunteers. So thank you and slán for now.